こんにちは、ハリケーンフットボールです。今回の教材は、リバプールの遠藤航に関する動画です。リバプールは、チャンピオンズリーグ第5節で PSV アイントホーフェンとホームで対戦し、4対1で壊滅的な大敗を喫しました。これにより直近12試合で9敗という悲惨な状況になり、アーネス・ロットの去就に関する話題でもちきりの状況です。正直に言って、前の試合までは、遠藤航を起用すべきだというリバプールファンは、全くいないほどでしたし、中盤とディフェンスの控えが十分でないために、1月での補強が必要という論調でしたが、ここに来て、さすがに、選手の入れ替えと、遠藤航のファイティングスピリットを望む声が上がってきていると感じます。アンフィールドラップのレビュー動画でも、これまであまり遠藤について良い話をしないファンだと感じていましたが、チームやファンの活力を取り戻すために、遠藤航を入れるべきだと話しています。実際にどのように話しているのか、チェックしてみましょ
う。I'm on record a lot saying what I think about Konate. I don't think he's ever been very good. I think he's been okay for a long period of his career. But fucking hell, mate, you can't keep playing him. He costs us a goal every single week, and quite often it's the first one. And as we now know, it's pivotal. If we score the first goal, we'll win. And if we concede it, we're absolutely knackered. He keeps playing him and playing him and playing him, and Joe Gomez must be looking going, what the fuck have I got to do here? So I can understand people's frustrations in terms of the manager. I don't want to give it the boom one little bit. If you want to get off that sound. As I say, I've done that tonight. I've got off on 70 odd minutes. But fuck all that booing and all that shit off. That's just not Liverpool at all. The bigger questions are though, where do we go from here and how do we change it? And listen, I'll be honest, I wouldn't like to be in the manager's shoes at all, because with the squad you're looking at, there's a couple of tweaks you can make, but to turn this ship round now, fuck knows.
Well, he gave us an interview today, I think it's earlier today, or perhaps yesterday, and he's asked and he says that he's as confused as everybody else. I'm sure you've seen it, the clip where he says he's confused about what's going wrong when he doesn't have the answers. And
well, that's reassuring at least.
I thought you and me both, Anna. But I mean, obviously that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear a manager talking about working tirelessly. We've always liked, or a lot of us have liked his openness, how direct he is. But it's getting to the point now where I don't want to hear that sort of talk before the Reds are playing at Anfield after losing every week. I want to hear that we're searching for solutions, we're looking for answers. But as you said, he has a limited pool of players to pick from at the moment, because in some positions where he could make changes, the alternatives are injured or are absent. Others are woefully out of form, and so's the next in line. And in some positions, there just isn't really an alternative. Like, I want to see Konate dropped. I've wanted to see him drop for weeks now. What's the choice? Play Gravenberch there, play Endo there. He keeps saying that Gomez isn't even training. But if you keep picking that same team, it's the old quote, doing the same thing over and over again, definition of insanity, and expecting different results. Once again, when I saw the lineup tonight, apart from Ekitike coming in, who I wanted to see play at the weekend, and Isak's, on the bench, and I would have seen him start tonight. He's switched around Szoboszlai and Curtis Jones. What else is open to him at the moment?
Not a huge amount, really. Obviously people want to see Chiesa start. There's people coming away saying, maybe pick Endo. At least there's some people tackling in the middle. We're not with him much, on the ball. But
Chiesa's attitude is fantastic, and his mind is as sharp as ever, but his body isn't.
My attitude's fantastic, and my mind's sharp as shit, but I'm crap at football, and so's he.
But I see Chiesa trying to do the right things time and time again, and his body just isn't what it was.
But he looks like he's got pride. I didn't see a lot of pride there, just on the pitch. And he looks like he's someone who gives a shit about what's going on. At least, Endo, would give 100%. You might say there's much better footballers around than him, but I don't think he'd give up on the pitch like those players did there. There's talk of, do you just play a right back? He's got a right back there that Liverpool have paid money for, as a youngster. Did all right, Ramsey in the League Cup. Do you play him just to have a right back, just to have someone there, because Curtis Jones, it didn't really work for him. Today, there, and Szoboszlai, you can see you want him in midfield, and so there are options there for him, but there's not loads. There's not sort of loads of different things, and that's part of the problem is when you say, like, I've really known it as bad as this, in terms of not just the results, but how they look on the pitch, and towards the end of games, and people are, like Kev says, saying, like, the manager's got to go, and you want to say, well, you need to give him time, but it's time to do what? It's time to, like, what's what's he moving towards? What are we transitioning towards? What are we looking to move towards? There's not really many new players on the pitch today. You know, from the outfield players, there's a new centre forward, but we all wanted. You know, the Darwin Núñez experiment and we all wanted a new forward. We've got one, he looks good. And then a new left back who we were saying all last season we needed a new left back. So it was them two, and then eight who've been there, albeit with a lad filling in at right back. But listen, clubs have to do that all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, Arsenal got injuries, City got injuries. You know, you have to move people around and play them out of position. That's no excuse for what we're seeing at the moment. And so there's no obvious fix. There's no, oh, if we get a few players back then, or if he just does this with the formation or whatever, they look a mess. Like, but you know, he's going out with a whimper at the moment. So what you want is like, I don't think he's ever really understood or harnessed the power of the crowd. And listen, he's coming after a fella who was like amazing at that, and that was his thing. And the different fellas, and that's fine. But like, if he just picked,
that'd be an easy win, wouldn't it? Now after today, if he just got the crowd behind him.
But just went. I'm just gonna, instead of Gakpo, who everyone's fucking sick of at the moment, I'm gonna pick Rio and Gamoa, and he's just gonna run at people, and everyone's gonna get excited. I'll pick Endo, and I think he's shit. That's the manager, by the way. I quite like him, but the manager's going, listen, I think he's shit, but he'll tackle 8 lads and he'll wear a gum shield, and that'll get people going. I'll pick a right back. I'll drop Konate because they all hate him, and I'll pick Gomez. And if he gets injured, well, fuck it, I'm not playing him anyway. And you can do all that, and it at least get the crowd a little bit involved and a little bit like, and then we can feel like, you know, we're sort of part of something. And then once you get that sort of snowball going, then suddenly, you know, others start feeling like they've got more energy. But there's nothing for either of us to feed off at the moment. So pick a few lads who people have been asking for, who are going to at least, you know, they might not be like, you might not want to start them in a Champions League final, but at the moment we just need to fucking get a point at West Ham. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what we need at the moment. We need a point at West Ham. So pick a team to do that, and then fucking go from there, and then we'll build from there, instead of trying to be perfect now, because we're so far from it. It is absolutely unbelievable. And by the way, the goalie played like he had 4 pints this afternoon because he didn't think he was playing. His mates have come to town.
We've all been there, mate.
Honestly, his mates have come to town, and he's like, they've gone for food, and he's like, yeah, I'll come for food. And then they've all had the drink, and he's like, fuck it, Ali's going to play, isn't he? He's had 2 glasses of red wine with some tapas.
He's got a sniffly nose, and he's like, that shit!
次は解説です。今回は難しいボキャブラリーはほとんどありませんでしたが、スカウスアクセントもしかり、パブでの砕けた雑談のようにも近く、リスニングがかなり難しいかと思います。今回は日常的に使える単語と表現が多いと思いますので、本日の解説をチェックしてみましょう。
And if we concede it, we're absolutely knackered.
ナッカードは日常会話でよく使われるイギリス英語の口語表現で、とても疲れているやヘトヘトといった意味です。アメリカ英語ではイグゾステッドやワーンアウトと同じような意味ですが、より砕けた感じがします。人の体力的、精神的な疲れにも使えますし、物に対してもう使えないくらい壊れていると言いたい時にも使います。発音はナカードに近く、感情や状態を強調する場面で便利な語です。カジュアルな会話やバラエティ番組などでよく登場します。
And if we concede it, we're absolutely knackered. And if we concede it, we're absolutely knackered. I've got off on 70 odd minutes.
おっとは口語表現で数詞の後ろにつけておおよそ何なんや何なんちょっとという曖昧な数量を表すために使われます。例えば20オットミニッツといえばだいたい20分、20分少々といったニュアンスになります。このオットは奇数や変なという意味とは異なり、正確ではないけれどそれに近いという柔らかい感じを出す役割があります。日常会話では頻繁に登場し、ざっくり何人くらいや、だいたいどのくらいの時間などをフレキシブルに表現できる便利な語です。会話の中で聞き手にプレッシャーを与えず、自然に数字を伝えたいときに役立ちます。
I've got off on 70 odd minutes. I've got off on 70 odd minutes. Well, that's reassuring at least.
リアシュアーは、心配している人に安心感を与えるという意味で使われます。再び安心させるという語源から、すでに不安や疑念がある人に対して、大丈夫だよや、問題ないよと声をかけて、心を落ち着けるようなイメージです。日常会話だけでなく、ビジネスシーンやニュースでも頻繁に使われ、相手の不安を和らげるコミュニケーションに欠かせない語です。特に人間関係やリスク対応、カスタマーサービスなどでも重要な単語です。
Well, that's reassuring at least. Well, that's reassuring at least.
But don't harness the power of the crowd.
ハーネスは、もともと馬を制御する道具を意味する名詞ですが、動詞になると、力やエネルギーを制御し、有効活用するという意味になります。風、太陽、電気などの自然の力だけでなく、熱気、興奮、情熱など人の感情や集団のエネルギーにも使われます。例えば、群衆のエネルギーをうまく利用するや、自然の力をビジネスや技術に応用するといった文脈で多く使われます。抽象的な力を具体的な目的のために生かすというイメージで覚えると、使い方が一気に広がります。
How to harness the power of the crowd. How to harness the power of the crowd. Once you get that sort of snowball going.
スノーボールは、もともと雪玉を意味しますが、このフレーズでは、雪だるま式に膨れ上がる勢いがつくという比喩として使われます。日本語でも雪だるま式にという表現をしますが、小さな雪玉を転がすと、どんどん大きくなって加速していくように、何かの動きや感情、流れが始まると、それが大きな力となって広がっていく様子を表します。スポーツの試合、プロジェクト、怒り、喜びなどの感情の連鎖にも使われ、ポジティブ、ネガティブどちらの意味でも使える便利な表現です。日常会話やビジネスのモチベーションスピーチでもよく使われます。
Once you get that sort of snowball going, once you get that sort of snowball going, there's nothing for either of us to feed off at the moment.
フィードオフは、直訳すると何かを食べて生きるですが、比喩的には何かから影響を受けて成長、進行することを表します。特に感情や状況、他人の反応などが対象になることが多いです。例えば、観客の熱気に乗ってパフォーマンスが上がるや、ネガティブな感情に巻き込まれて悪化するなどの文脈でよく使われます。日常会話だけでなく、メディア、スポーツ、心理描写など幅広い場面で使える便利な表現です。
There's nothing for either of us to feed off at the moment. There's nothing for either of us to feed off at the moment.
いかがでしたか？遠藤航がセンターバックや右サイドバックでプレーするのを見たくないと言っていたリバプールファンも多かったですが、特にコナテの失点関与が止まらないことから、遠藤航がそこでプレーすべきだという論調になっています。中盤でも、グラベンバークが昨シーズンほどは輝いておらず、マカリスターも目立たないようなパフォーマンスにも見え、中盤の底に遠藤航を置くべきという話も出てきました。それでもスロットは、遠藤を起用しないだろうとも話していますが、少なくとも、今のチームの士気を上げ、機運を変えるためにも、遠藤航やエングモアやキエーザのような、目に見えて興奮できるようなものが必要だといったところでした。実際に遠藤航を起用する可能性はまだ低そうな気はしますが、週末の試合も少しだけ期待して楽しみにしたいと思います。本日もご視聴いただきありがとうございました。またすぐにお会いしましょう。